You've heard me whine and cry about it for the past couple of days. Doug Pederson out as Eagles head coach. I'm going to put this thing to bed, have a final word, and go positively forward, if that's even possible. And we're also going to talk about the most ridiculous press conference in Eagles and maybe Philadelphia sports history that happened yesterday. That is all coming up next. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Eagles News Now podcast. I'm professional wrestler Chris Wilde, live once again from bar 4133. And first thing that I want to say to get this episode started off of is, look, I'm not an analyst, okay? I don't know anyone behind the scenes that might know more information than the other guy. I'm a fan like you guys, and, I do this at my bar studio because I talk to you like I would talk to my buddies at the bar about the Philadelphia Eagles or the 76ers or professional wrestling. It's a great avenue and a great platform to vent on, and I'm going to do that today and give my opinion because it is my opinion. Some of the things might not be fact, but again, that's what makes this country so great. We have something called the First Amendment where we can do this kind of thing. So let's get right to it. Doug Pederson out as Eagles head coach. As a lot of you know from my live stream or my video from the past couple days, I don't agree with this at all. And you know what? It's done. It's over with. He's not the head coach anymore. I just wanted to really get some things off my chest because I think that Doug Pederson was done really dirty by this organization. Now, look, if you're going to fire Doug Pederson, if that's the avenue you go, if you're going to fire the only coach to get you a Super Bowl, then fine. I mean, there's plenty of reasons why. I mean, the season was bad. He completely lost his feel for the game, and his list of coaches that he wanted to bring back just was not acceptable, in my opinion, and a lot of others' opinions. Again, who are we to say? However, they really did him dirty on this. And it goes all the way back to last year. It goes all the way back to last offseason. After the Eagles went to the playoffs with practice squad wide receivers. I mean, that's been regurgitated over and over again. I get it. After losing his starting quarterback in the first quarter of the playoff game and having Josh McCown come in on one hamstring at 40 years old, Doug Pederson says in a press conference, they sit him down at that end of the year press conference, and he says that his offensive coordinator, Mike Groh, and his wide receivers coach, Carson Walsh, were going to be back on his staff next year. Literally a day later, Jeff Luries fires both of them, making Doug Pederson look like an absolute fool. Then hires about 15 different offensive assistants that just don't mesh well together, two of which he's already fired in Rich Scangarello and Marty Morningwig. This season, I don't have to go back to what the season was. Again, it was absolutely horrible. The offense was terrible. Carson Wentz regressed from maybe a top 10 quarterback to the worst quarterback in the league. And Doug Pederson had a horrible, horrible year. And it all came to head the final game of this season against the Washington football team. Washington wins. They're in the playoffs. If the Eagles win, the Giants are in the playoffs. The Eagles were already eliminated. So the Eagles sit just about every starter they have. Washington plays so poorly that the Eagles still have a chance to win in the fourth quarter, and it looks like they probably will with Jalen Hurts as quarterback. Doug Pederson pulls Jalen Hurts, puts Nate Sudfeld in the game, of course giving them literally no chance to win. This move was criticized, and Doug Pederson was crucified nationally. He sits up on the podium after the game, and if you watch that clip, he's almost biting his lip. You can tell what he's saying. He doesn't believe, as he says, that he was trying to win the game. He's answering all these questions about Nate, sticking up for him, sticking up for the organization. And then a week later, there's another press conference with Doug Pederson and Howie Roseman, as Doug Pederson says he expects to be back. The after the season press conference, and I can't stress this enough, they have Howie Roseman and Doug Pederson talking about how they're going to change things moving forward, how they're going to fix Carson Wentz, what they're going to do with Jalen Hurts. This all actually happened. I mean, this happened. And then you start to hear rumors of Doug Pederson's position not being firm in the on the team. That the fact that there's a head coach that might be traded, and then Doug's name gets leaked out, and then that he's going to have another meeting with Jeff Luries, and a day before that, Jeff McClain gets leaked information about who Doug Pederson's coaches are going to be, and it's released, and of course they're all horrible. Press Taylor as OC, Corey Unlin as DC, or Matt Burke. Depends on who you talk to. And Dave Fitt coming back as special teams coordinator. Obviously, none of us wanted to see any of that happen. But it was really leaked to make Doug look bad. And then, of course, he gets fired yesterday. I just think it's what a horrible way to go around things. Who has this guy, your head coach that won a Super Bowl, sit at the end of the year press conference talking about how things are going to change if you're just going to fire him? It makes absolutely no sense. Jeffrey Luries is on, and I said this yesterday, he's almost at Jerry Jones' level of annoyance right now in meddling. A lot of reports are now coming out. Jeffrey Luries has say in draft picks. Doug Pederson didn't even have a say on who was going to be active on Sundays, as he had to wait until Sunday to find out who Howie Roseman was going to activate or deactivate. It's unbelievable. Again, more reports coming out that basically Doug Pederson threw out this list of his offensive staff and says, if this doesn't happen, I want out. Another report came out that said that he's tired of people telling him what to do. Look, I can't blame the guy. He won a Super Bowl, and ever since then, he's had very little control over anything, over absolutely anything. He consistently takes the hit. He looks stupid in press conferences. I mean, I'm going back to when the Eagles won the Super Bowl and they declined the invite to the White House. Jeffrey Luries didn't sit up there. Howie Roseman didn't sit up there. They sent Doug up there to talk about why. I mean, it's just it's unbelievable. It's out of control. I think they've treated this guy pretty poorly. And look, he's going to get another shot at another team, and we'll see if he's successful or not. I don't think he's going to be successful at Press Taylor as an offensive coordinator. We'll see if he brings those guys in. A part of me, and there was a report that I dismissed like a month ago saying that Doug would be happy if he was fired. And I'm like, who would be happy if they were fired? Like, doesn't make sense. Now it kind of makes sense. And I don't want this to be too long a video because we got some things about Jeffrey Luries to get to. But what head coach, and I will talk about candidates to be the next head coach probably tomorrow, is going to come here with the way he was treated. How Howie Roseman somehow is Teflon. Like, he survives everything. He's like a roach. I mean, what other GM has went through 3 head coaches? All the bad, and we're going to get to all this in Jeffrey Luries' press conference. Let's do it now. Jeffrey Luries had probably the worst press conference in Philadelphia sports history. It was worse than John Middleton. It sounded like a Phillies press conference, trying to explain why he fired Doug Pederson and the changes going forward. It was horrible. It was universally laughed at throughout the country and media outlets. Locally, a lot of people have had fun with it, and I'm just going to get to it. I've read a really good article by Ruben Frank on NBCSportsPhilly.com, and it was the 5 most ridiculous things that Jeffrey Luries said in yesterday's press conference. I'm going to get to that right now, and the first thing is the question, did Doug deserve to be let go? Jeffrey Luries had the gall to say, no, he did not deserve to be let go. You're the one that fired him. Am I missing something here? I mean, what, are you serious? The guy that fired him says he didn't deserve to be let go. You got to be kidding me. So that was one of them. Then this is to the thumbnail. He says, we have about 5 people in our organization that right now I could project that will be general managers in this league. So now you're the general manager factory, right? Not the quarterback factory anymore. Are you effing kidding me? 5 guys that could be GMs, but you're the GM that you have can't draft anybody? You guys can't get your draft picks right? Apparently, Jeffrey Luries is the one that went to bat for J.J. Arcega-Whiteside to be drafted over DK Metcalf. This is just stupid. It was dumb. Like, why would you say this? Throughout the whole press conference, he tried to save face with Howie Roseman. It was really bad. A slap in the fan's face. Like, you got to be kidding me. Again, if Doug gets fired, you don't like how he's doing things, fine. It's your team. It's your show. You can do that. But to keep this guy, Howie Roseman, around, is absolutely insane, and he spent too much time talking about Howie Roseman. He also says, I think 1/4 of the time I've been owner in the last 20 years we've appeared in the NFC Championship game. That's hard to do without really good talent. Again, what are we doing here? What are we doing? You so it's like it's a deflection on Roseman's failures. I mean, the Eagles have reached 1 NFC Championship game in 10 years under Howie Roseman. No, they won it, of course, and went to the Super Bowl. But what kind of statement are you making here? Do you think people aren't going to do this kind of research? It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And first off, you had a coach in Andy Reid who basically made a lot of that happen, and Donovan McNabb, who was an excellent quarterback. So whatever. So they talk about the draft. Like, how are you missing guys? How do you keep missing on all this great talent in the draft? Justin Jefferson, DK Metcalf. Jeffrey Luries says, and I quote, "We are identifying the best players, but they get taken 2, 3, 4, 5 picks ahead of us, and that's also part of the evaluation." Another way of him defending Howie Roseman. Look, I don't care about the guys picked in front of you. Like, nobody cares about the guys picked in front of you. We can't control that. Of course, teams are going to pick the best players ahead of you. I'm worried about the guys that you didn't draft that get picked after you pick. The DK Metcalf, the Justin Jefferson, how in the most stacked wide receiver draft, what do you have out of that? You had the best running back draft. You picked Donnell Pumphrey. I mean, get out of here with this stupid. This is Philadelphia, man. This isn't New York with Dave Gettleman. We're not gonna buy all this bullshit. It's insane. And then talking about and this is the last one, talking about the coaching search, because the Eagles are kind of behind the 8 ball on this right now, guys. They really are. Because other teams have already, a guy like Eric Bieniemy or Brian Dable, you can't interview them until after the postseason or the week before the Super Bowl if they get there. So you're already behind the 8 ball on this. Jeffrey Luries says, if we find a head coach soon, and this is all, this is quotes, if we find a head coach soon or it's early February, it's totally great. If we're the last team picking a head coach, that's great too, because then you have all the opportunity in the world. You can't make this up. There are 6 other teams currently looking for a head coach. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I mean, you're going to wait till February? Like, it's just... Look, guys, this is a mess. It's an absolute mess. And this owner, he's kidding himself. He's absolutely kidding himself. So you're going to let all the good candidates get hired before you. I mean, and I understand Doug Pederson wasn't one of the, if you go back to that search, nobody wanted Doug Pederson. He ended up being the best one out of that. I mean, we wanted Adam Gase and Ben McAdoo, for God's sakes. But this is insane to me. Like, why you come out in a press conference and these are the answers that you give? It's insane. That kind of thinking, like, ignores the minor fact, and this is what Reuben Frank says, it conveniently ignores the minor fact that the reason you have this coaching search to yourself at that point, and we're talking about early February, is because 6 of the best candidates already got hired while you were waiting till early February. It's just, I don't get it, man. I went from not really minding Jeffrey Lurie to I can't stand this guy anymore. This press conference, it's not even worth me putting up the clips of him speaking. It was so bad. He was like an hour late into it, too. Horrible, absolutely terrible press conference. Who can blame Doug Pederson at this point if he wanted out? I mean, really. And my biggest question right now is, what head coach is going to want to come here? After a coach wins you a Super Bowl and 3 years later you get rid of him in this way? You do them like this? You do them dirty like this? It's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. Who in their right mind? They're going to have to pay, and Lincoln Riley's the guy they're talking about, and we'll talk about this later. They're going to have to pay somebody millions and millions of dollars to take this job. They just are. Why would you do that? Like, you have no power if you're a head coach. You got no power. You got no say on who your offensive or defensive coaching staffs are. Who would want to come to this, guys? I don't know. I'm sure there's somebody out there, and hopefully we have somebody that just says, look, I'm going to take this challenge on. I'll make the best with it, and I'm going to be known as the guy that fixed the Eagles. But I don't know. That's a story for another day. Thank you and again, I'm putting this to bed. No more on Doug Pederson. No more on how bad this decision was. I wanted to get this off my chest. I feel like it's off my chest now, and talk about how piss poor Jeffrey Lurie's press conference was, and probably one of the worst in the history of Philadelphia sports. I'm good now, guys. As Doug Pederson said to Derek Gunn, I'm at peace with it. I'm at peace with it right now. And it's nothing but looking forward. And we're going to get into all of the head coaching candidates. As again, the silver lining is it gives us something else to talk about. It's kind of an exciting time as we're going to have a whole slew of different coaches next year. And again, it really can. It probably can, but it can't get much worse than it was this year for Eagle fans. So with that being said, guys, stay safe. Stay healthy. Once again, F. Jeffrey Lurie. Go Birds. I'll see you later.
E-A-G-L-E-S Eagles. E-A-G-L-E-S Eagles.
I need Eagle Nation to stand.